Hello, everyone. Welcome to my portfolio presentation on vulnerability and shame by the beautiful Bella. What is vulnerability and shame? Vulnerability is being exposed to the elements, the fancy way to say it, physically or mentally. Shame is the fear of disconnection from others. It is from others. It is important to know what these are and what they mean so that you can recognize and learn how to connect with others and help. Types or ways in which vulnerability can happen or can be used. These are the bad ways. People can manipulate you when you are down. Telling people what you're going through, and what you need help with can be good and healing. But you also need to be careful with whom you trust and who you tell your secrets to. People don't always have your best interests in mind, and sometimes their goals in a relationship is to just have power over the other person. They will get to know you, then use your vulnerabilities against you in order to gain power over you. And here are some of the good ones. Vulnerability can help you with connection. How Brene Brown said it. In order to have connection, you need to let go of who you want to be and be who you are. I agree with what she's saying, but I think there's something missing. You will hear people saying, you will hear people say, "You're perfect just the way you are." Well, what if I'm a pile of crap? What then? What if I become a narcissist? And what if I don't know who I am? Part of understanding who you are is whose you are, your gender, and your connection with your family. To become who you are, you should be trying to improve each and every day. And here's a quote from the family, A Proclamation to the World. It's from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, from the Apostles. I think it was made in 1995. All human beings, male and female, are created in the image of God. Each is a beloved spirit, son, or daughter of heavenly parents, and as such, each has a divine nature and destiny. Gender is an essential characteristic of individual premortal, mortal, and eternal identity and purpose. Your number one goal in a relationship should not be to have the most power, but to be uplifting and to bring joy. And if you want an even better relationship, it should be Christ-centered. Building walls can be good, but your foundation is ultimately going to determine if those walls stay grounded. Your foundation should be upon the rock of Christ. And to have a good foundation, you need to have faith in your Savior. Another thing is that I don't think we have to open ourselves to vulnerability in order to, let me rephrase that. Another thing is that I don't think we have to open ourselves to vulnerability in order to understand other people. I hear people say, "You don't understand me because you haven't experienced it." I can have compassion and understanding and maybe even help by listening and being there. We don't have to have experienced bad things in order to understand or be a help to another person. If only one bad thing has happened in your life, that can help you apply that broadly in showing that compassion towards a person who has had another bad thing happen in their life. Who it affects in bad ways. We pretend that what we do doesn't have an impact on people, what said Brene Brown. What this means to me is that sometimes we don't recognize or realize the effect that we have on other people. This might be because we don't think we're that important, or it might be because we don't have an appropriate amount of compassion for other people. We do kind of live in a society where we are taught that some people, organizations, beliefs, etc., are not as important as as human as others. This can also affect us if we find ourselves in these very categories, which can make us think less of ourselves. We do spend too much time dividing others instead of understanding and building each other up in good ways and appreciating our differences. And here are the good ones. When we are willing to listen to each other, try to understand our differences, and appreciate what everyone has to offer, we can build up a society where we are more well-rounded and compassionate. I think when people can recognize their own vulnerabilities and accept that others can have theirs as well, it makes people realize that we are all human instead of believing in an ideal of perfection. We're all here to help each other. We don't have to agree or disagree on everything. Everybody has their own individual contributions, and we should respect that. How to overcome the bad ways. When it comes to manipulation or who to trust, one way to protect yourself is to watch and observe with the binoculars how other people respect and treat others. For example, if someone is gossiping to you about someone else, it's likely that they'll turn around and do the same about you. When somebody does do this, you can encourage them to do what's right by saying something like, "Wow, that sounds rough. Have you talked to them about it?" In doing this, you are sending the clear message to them that when they gossip to you about someone else, you will constantly remind them that they could get this issue resolved by just talking with the person themselves. Of course, each of us should follow this advice ourselves by resolving issues with others instead of grumbling about it to other people. When you can see that that person follows that advice, then they're probably a person you can trust. Ideally, though, when we need to vent, we should find somebody to talk with who is outside the situation and will have an unbiased view because they don't know the person personally. How to promote the good ways. Live close to God. Listen to people. Write down your experiences so you can learn from them, and depending on if they're bad, you can learn not to repeat them. Why is it important for youth to know about this and how they can use it wisely? People are usually taught to look at vulnerabilities as a weakness, but it doesn't have to be. We can find ways to promote our vulnerabilities to healthy living and good examples. Life is going to have its ups and downs, and it is important to learn how to deal with those joys and stresses appropriately. That's it, folks. I hope you guys enjoyed, and see ya.